Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla if you're new here, and I make videos about how I show up for myself in hopes of inspiring you to do the same. And by showing up for myself, I completely transformed my entire life, overhauled my mental health and lost over half my body weight. And in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 12 days of Christmas, well not really, but 12 tips for Christmas time, holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, New Year, or December if that's just what you celebrate or don't celebrate anything. But what I wanted to do was share with you 12 tips that I've learned from losing weight during a holiday period and maintaining weight during a holiday period. I know that they can be incredibly stressful, especially if we are on that weight loss journey and we are so focused and dedicated. But Christmas time, those holidays, getting together with people can make us really, really triggered. So my suggestion are these 12 tips. Please take and do with them as you will. And maybe if you have any other tips that you can recommend to anybody else, please leave them down in the comments down below. I love to see you guys supporting each other. It makes my heart so happy. My purpose of this video is to help you to reduce the stress that might be incurred around Christmas time and the worry about losing weight or dieting around Christmas or around any kind of holiday period, especially any of those big gatherings, maybe a wedding, or any of that could be applicable to these. So without further ado, let's get into it, and hopefully I can help to reduce anxiety and stress for you guys so you can actually enjoy the holiday period this December. Tip number 1 is to have a plan. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Honestly, guys, it is so important to ensure that you have a plan. I'm going to talk you through a couple of plans, but make sure that you have a plan. Whatever it is that you are going to be doing around this period, make sure you have it planned out. Because when you go into something, we can get incredibly emotional, we can get incredibly overwhelmed, we can totally forget ourselves, we can get very triggered, and it's important that we have some kind of plan. Which brings me on to tip number 2. Number 2 is to plan your days off. So this for me was the most important thing to do. How to continue losing weight during the festive period, but also enjoy myself. I planned my days off. I allowed myself 3 days off around Christmas. The 19th of December is my birthday. Hint, hint. No, please don't buy me anything. But just the 19th of December is my birthday. Then the 25th is Christmas Day, which is our big celebration here in Ireland. I know some people it's the 24th, etc. Do as you will. If it's Hanukkah, it's, different times for you guys. For whatever, just pick your days. And then the 26th for me is also a big family celebration. It's Stephen's Day here in Ireland. It's Boxing Day in the UK. It is a day where we kind of have a tendency to, traditionally in my family, we used to go to my aunt's house. Sometimes I host Stephen's Day kind of lunch buffet kind of thing in my house now. Sometimes we don't do anything. Last year I don't think we did anything except sit around and do nothing, which was very nice, which I might do again this year. But I planned those 3 days. And then during my weight loss, the year that I was actually losing weight, 2020, I decided on the day to give myself the 24th or Christmas Eve as well. Now, those 3/4 days were my days to enjoy myself. These are the days, these are my get out of jail free card. They are my hall pass to just enjoy myself and to just be part of the festivities and have fun and eat the foods that I want to eat, that I love, that I really truly loved, and enjoy it. Those 3 days/4 days in the end, that is what I wanted to do on those. I don't believe in cheat days because this is not cheating. It's not cheating on yourself. It's not cheating on a diet. So on those days, I wasn't counting calories and I was eating whatever I wanted to eat that was there. I was listening to Jared from Body Slims, which is the program that I did to lose weight. And he mentioned if you give your child a toy every single morning or a bunch of toys, by Christmas Day that comes around, they're not going to be special anymore if they get a toy. They're just going to expect it. And it's the same for us. If we really enjoy our, I love Christmas breakfast. Now, obviously being plant-based, I wouldn't be eating like sausages and rashers, but I might eat the vegan versions, or I might make a big stack of pancakes. I always loved that Christmas breakfast morning, like having a really special breakfast. And I typically intermittent fast, but I'm not going to do that on Christmas Day. I'm going to enjoy my big breakfast. I'm going to have fun with the family, drink a really nice or 5 cups of coffee. That's what I'm going to do at Christmas. If I had that breakfast every single morning, it wouldn't be special. It wouldn't be enjoyable. So save it and savor it. Tip number 3 then is every other day except those days that you have decided you're taking off are the same. So what you're doing on those days is everything that you have done normally on your weight loss journey. So for me, it's my hour walk in the morning, it's being in a calorie deficit, ensuring I'm getting enough water and eating as well as I can, especially if I know I'm going to be eating like sugar and stuff. I want to be eating like more veg to give my body nutrients and things like that. So making sure that they are your on-plan days and you have your off-plan days. Number 4 then is to pay it forward. When I speak about this, I am not telling you to restrict in order to enjoy. I want to make that really, really clear. I am not saying that. I am suggesting that we don't lose the run of ourselves. So paying forward for me looked like on Christmas, maybe Christmas Day I didn't go for a walk, but Stephen's Day, even though it was an off-plan day, I still went for a walk and I enjoyed my walk. And also a bit of time to yourself as well, because there's a lot of family time going around. The day before my birthday, I was counting calories, I was, did my walk, I was in my calorie deficit and I had, some calories left. And normally I would maybe have a packet of popcorn or have a bar of chocolate if that fit into that calories for the day. But I would maybe decide, if I'm satisfied and I don't need anything else, I'm not going to have it for the sake of it. So I'm paying it forward by not just like having that extra bit, because the 19th then I was going to have cake and I was going to have like a really delicious lunch and, I was going to eat my food. I was going to have Chinese takeaway because I have a Chinese takeaway every one of my birthdays. Tip number 5 then is to try to not focus on liquid calories. Christmas is a big drinking time. What I might suggest though is being more aware of the amount that you're drinking over the Christmas period, especially on your off-plan days, or even on your on-plan days, really focusing on how much you are consuming of alcohol. Because first of all, it's not great for you. And second of all, alcohol is just dead calories. It does nothing for you. It has no nutritional value. So it is just either you have to work it off or it's going to be stored as fat. So we just have to think about that. So not shaming, still allowing yourselves a glass of wine, a couple of glasses of wine, whatever it is that you want, but maybe look at having a plan around alcohol. Say, for example, you want to have a glass of wine, then maybe your second thing is a glass of like Schlur or something that's in a wine glass. It's, one of those like, you can get a zero version of it that you can put into a wine glass and kind of has that feeling of wine. Or if you're a gin and tonic lover, maybe ensuring that you have the slimline tonic as opposed to the regular tonic. And then every second one, you have just tonic, no gin. Just a little suggestion. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so, don't be over restrictive. But also, it's not a bad idea to start to space out our drinks. Put in some water in there in between. Staying hydrated is also really important for weight loss and to make you sure that you're not just mindlessly eating. But trying to limit those liquid calories. Also, a lot of things around Christmas, there's a lot of sugar in things. So if you take like a Starbucks toffee nut latte, which is one of my favorite drinks of all time, so no shade, but they're really high in calories. Tip number 6 then is to stay grounded when you're making decisions around food. When we are triggered, when we are not mindful, we have a tendency to kind of be out here and distracted and not thinking, we're not in our prefrontal cortex, we're not making decisions from our adult side of our brain. And ensuring that we're staying grounded when we are going up to reach for food, when we are making a decision around food, even on your off-plan days. Your off-plan days don't have to be where you eat 4 croissants. We're being mindful about what we are eating. So we're staying grounded and enjoying something. Instead of focusing on having everything, we're staying grounded. We're making sure we can feel our feet. And you've heard me talk about this so much. And what you're doing is you're basically like rocking your feet back and forth so that you can ensure that you can feel them, wiggling your toes. And what that does is just brings you into your body, makes you more mindful, more present. And when you're making decisions then, we're not making decisions out of shame. We're not restricting ourselves. But we know that If we're distracted, we can eat that entire bowl of chips and guac without even a second thought and be like, what happened? Where did that go? So you're just being aware of that, being mindful about what we're putting into our bodies. My next tip then is around the way we eat. I would recommend a couple of things here. So within this, I would recommend portion. So when we are picking our plate, pick a smaller plate. And if you're at a buffet that's in front of you, say you have this plate. This is the plate that I have, and I'm allowed to fill this plate once. So pick what it is that you want on this plate and fill that plate. Or ask your partner or somebody to do that for you. Say, I want some of the turkey, I want some stuffing, I want a potato, whatever it is, and pick that. That is, by ensuring that you kind of have that plate and that is your plate, it just stops that compulsion to overeat, the kind of mindless eating or the emotional eating. In the same vein, I would always recommend sharing as well. For my birthday, I went to this vegan bakery and I wanted to try a couple of things. I ended up getting 4 or 5 of their different pastries. And instead of me going home and eating 4 or 5 pastries by myself, I took them in then to my sister, my niece, and my partner, and we divided them and we had a bit each. And that way you get to taste more. This is the same thing you could do maybe if there's loads of different desserts at the dessert table in, wherever you are for the holidays. Go and pick a small spoonful of each one. And it's surprising how satisfied you can be when you actually taste something and you're like, okay, no, I've actually had enough. When we're being grounded and honest with ourselves, we've actually had enough. One thing that I would recommend doing here is the 20-minute rule. So if you've got your plate, your pre-portioned plate, we're being grounded, we're being mindful, we're checking with our body. So this kind of nicely coincides together. So you're checking with your body, seeing how you feel. Do I still need more food? If you do, go for it. You can always go for more. But if you give yourself 20 minutes, because you're sitting around having a chat, enjoying yourself, have 20 minutes. And if you want something else, go back and have it. By giving yourself that 20 minutes, you're sometimes our trigger can be an empty plate and our reaction to that trigger is to go back and refill that plate. Instead, what we want to do is put a disruption between that trigger and that reaction and therefore create a response. So our trigger then is the empty plate. Okay, let's have a reaction as opposed to response. So we're putting a delay in there, and the delay is a 20-minute break. We say you can have whatever you want after 20 minutes. And you'd be surprised how many times, for myself as well, that I go, actually, I'm okay. If I'm being honest with myself and being grounded, I actually don't really need that. The next tip is very important. If you want it, have it. These are your off-plan days in order to enjoy yourself, to have what you want. If it is a creme brulee, have the creme brulee. Whatever it is, have it, enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments, actually, what is your favorite festive thing? What is it that you love around Christmas, holidays, whatever you celebrate? What is that thing? Whether, maybe it's something else that you celebrate, maybe it's Eid or Diwali or something like that. Let me know what is your thing that you love to eat, that you look forward to. Have it, enjoy it. There is no shame in doing so. You are a human being. Allow yourself to enjoy the food. Moving on from that, my next two are they kind of work together. The first of these is to say no and to learn to be okay to say no. You do not need to say no. You can do it very kindly and say, oh, I'm actually good, thank you, Auntie Margaret. I've had enough in this. It's okay to say no. It's just, go on now, you have another bit. I'm okay, thanks very much, Margaret. I'm good with this. Or if you don't want any more drink, I'm like, you can just cover over your glass and be like, no, actually, I'm grand, thank you. I'm good with this. And that brings me on to my next tip, which is do not engage in behaviors, activities, whatever it is that are toxic to you just for the sake of tradition. I think this is really important, that we do not put ourselves into situations that are toxic or harmful just for the sake of tradition. If going to Auntie Margaret's is incredibly triggering for you, you do not have to go. We so often find ourselves in situations that are toxic or hurtful or harmful to ourselves for the sake of tradition or for the sake of other people. If going for, if you're not drinking at the moment, but you find that Christmas Eve drinks are, they're tradition, but you actually don't really enjoy them because you don't really like those people, it's okay to say no. It is okay to do something and to create your own tradition or to change something. I have changed many of my traditions over the last 4 years. Yeah, nearly like most of them. And I've created new traditions that serve me really well, that make me feel really good. It's a way of showing up for yourself, and it's okay to do that. It is okay to give yourself permission to remove yourself from a toxic situation if it's not helpful to you. Tip number 11 is to plan your back on days, to schedule them in. For me, it was the 27th was back to business. That was it. I had the 19th, 24th, 25th, 26th of December, 27th, back on business. Back my walk, back my calorie deficit, back eating the food that made me feel really good. A couple of days off, not going to make that big difference. A couple of weeks off is going to make that big difference. So make that schedule. And then my final little festive tip for you guys is, if you are triggered by the scales, which I was at points, do not weigh yourself for at least the same amount of times that you were off plan. If you were off plan for 3 days, do not weigh yourself for at least 3 days. It gives your body a time to adjust for the water retention, etc. But if you are triggered by the scales in any way, please do not weigh yourself. It is only going to ensue shame and start any kind of negative self-talk if there's any kind of emotional response or emotional attachment to the scales. So do not weigh yourself. It's not going to do you any justice. Give yourself, I would actually really suggest, at least a week. Guys, that is the end of today's video. Please leave me a Santa Claus or snowman or Christmas tree or whatever kind of little festive emoji down in the description box. Let me know what is your favorite festive treat as well. What is your favorite festive food that you look forward to every year? Please make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and I will be back to you very soon with another one. Bye guys.